This past week we had our cutoff. All bills from their respective chamber of origin needed to be passed out or no longer moving for the session. I had 4 bills that survived, all dealing with both consumer protection and public safety. One bill in particular was a bill that I sponsored last year that passed unanimously in the Senate but did not make it out of the House. We passed that bill again this year unanimously, and the bill addresses the rising problem in communities like Everett and Marysville and others across the state with vehicle prowls. A few years ago, the legislature passed a bill to crack down on auto thefts. We saw a dramatic decrease in the number of auto thefts statewide, nearly 30% drop. Unfortunately, we simultaneously saw a 30% increase in the number of vehicle prowls across the state. I think the people who were committing the auto theft crimes realized the penalties had increased, so instead of taking the vehicle, they simply stole its contents. My bill will do similarly what we did for auto theft by increasing the penalties for repeat offenders on a 3rd conviction. Those accused will be charged with a Class C felony instead of a gross misdemeanor. We believe this will go a long ways to help address the problem in that's facing a lot of our communities. Another bill had to do with carbon monoxide alarms. A couple years ago, the legislature passed a requirement that all new home sales and existing home sales would be required to have a carbon monoxide alarm installed before the sale could be closed. The problem is that sellers weren't aware of this obligation, so it's created liability issues for both sellers and our real estate professionals. My bill will add to the seller disclosure form that requirement, and it also provides some liability protection for our real estate professionals. In addition to the bills that I've passed, as a body, we've passed several bills in the areas of education, corrections, and the environment. We recently passed legislation to help support our school districts by making sure that we have the best teachers in every classroom across the state. With regard to environmental protection, in a time of limited resources, it's important that we not take a step backwards in all the progress we've made to clean up our waterways and make sure that we have healthy air to breathe and vibrant natural resources in the state. And we've done a lot to make sure that we're protecting those resources. And in corrections, again, we want to make sure that we have not diminished our state's ability to provide the best public safety possible, while also ensuring that those offenders who have the ability to become productive members of society when released have the necessary tools and services available to them to do that. The reform agenda that Senator Hargrove and I undertook before session began is also making great progress. We've passed over 15 bills, many of which will either save the taxpayers money directly or they will go significantly to improving our ability to deliver services in the most efficient manner possible. Many of the bills that we've passed were taken directly from suggestions and recommendations both from our state auditor, Brian Sontag, as well as our Legislative Audit Review Committee, JLARC. We had great news in our recent forecast. For the first time in years since the recession began, we've had a positive revenue forecast of over $90 million. That, combined with a new caseload forecast that shows over $300 million in savings that we thought were going to be going out to supporting state services, shows that not only are we doing good work down here in Olympia to try to help improve the state's economic situation, but the economy both here in Washington and across the country is improving, consumer confidence is improving, and what we thought was a very dire budget situation this session may shape up to be not quite as significant a problem as we originally believed it would be. Both the House and the Senate next week are set to release their budgets. This is the culmination of work that's been ongoing for months, since October. I look forward to identifying the differences between the House and Senate budget, making sure that we leave here with a sustainable, balanced budget that serves Washingtonians as best we can.